Hey there, you me and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am Mantis.
And I am Cal, stepson of Krypton.
Alex switching up a little bit. And today we are doing kind of a discussion slash review over Penguin, the first several episodes. Now, I know we did do a discussion of the original episode, but we are going to now look at them all three as a whole, not a reaction. If you want
No reaction.
reactions, go find another channel. I can link some
Yeah.
down below if you really want. I'm not going to because you should do your own research. But we're going to do
Yes.
discussion. So, Mantis, are you ready to get into it? Because this is an exciting series. Let's go. Okay, guys. So, at the time of recording this, we are 3 episodes into the Penguin series. And I got to say, I am loving it. Don't know how you guys feel. Let us know down in the comments. But Mantis, how are you feeling?
To stick with the McDonald's theme,
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it as well. It is. I didn't know if it was gonna be enough. If it was gonna be interesting enough for the character. But kind of a 1,000-foot view. Again, we mentioned this in a couple other videos. HBO Max is the perfect platform to put something like this out on. The continuity is great. There are scenes throughout the first 3 episodes that show the remnants and how the inhabitants of Gotham are dealing with what happened at the end of the Batman, the movie. It's awesome how they intertwined all of that. It's a drama. It's like a mob movie drama. But again, Colin Farrell, his portrayal of the Penguin is so good. It's his acting is, because I talked to you about this yesterday. If I'm looking at the good actors or great actors that have played roles in DC, specifically villains, I mean, man, I know this may be off-putting for some of you to say this, but man, I put him up there with Heath Ledger. His mannerisms, I mentioned this to you too. He does the walk great. He does this weird lick lip thing that when he's talking, kind of actually like the Joker did on a few occasions too. It's good stuff, man. It's just very good.
So here's my thing with that, guys, is when he says that, right? I know it might seem a little off-putting for people who are huge Heath Ledger fans and his portrayal of Joker, because yes, it was amazing. We're not saying that, right? It was amazing, but you got look. This is a different character. This isn't like Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker, who also did amazing at the in a different portrayal, different character. This is a completely different character. We are getting to see the Penguin, side of a character, right? This is the Penguin. Only other live action really experience that I know of that we've had is Danny DeVito, right?
Yeah.
So
and these are not the same at all.
Completely different. So when we, man, motherfucker. So when we think about Colin Farrell, and playing it, when we say about he's talking about in comparison to Heath Ledger playing Joker, Colin Farrell is to the Penguin what Heath Ledger was to the Joker, right? I mean, It's just
that's what I'm saying.
It's this. He has this way of add in the prosthetics, facial prosthetics, and body prosthetics and all that stuff, but he has this way of bringing the character to life in a realistic kind of like what Heath Ledger did with the Joker, in a realistic way where this character works in this time frame. Whereas, Danny DeVito, we kind of played it more of he was a hybrid human penguin kind of a thing. He had fins and flippers and things like this, where he's playing it he's this kind of mid-level mob boss. It works, and he does a fantastic job at it, because the one thing that they always say with actors and actresses is when they get you to feel things, if you're watching a good guy or even if it's a bad guy, but they get you to hate them, that's a good sign of an actor, right? Is because you develop those emotion. But what I think is a better sign, in personal opinion, is when it's a bad guy, but you actually start to root for him and like him, right? That means you have a phenomenal actor or an actress playing that character. is when you root for the bad guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's again, we're talking about Colin Farrell. Like you mentioned him putting on the prosthetics. Like, let's be real here. This is a guy who starred in a movie where he was in a phone booth the whole fucking movie. Okay? Which, by the way, yeah, like he's literally in the he was in the phone booth the whole movie.
Nobody sprayed any brain cells there.
No, and it did great. I mean, the opening weekend it made back all the money that it made more than what the cost of the movie. Like the first weekend. So like if there's anyone that could do an acting job, it's Colin Farrell, and he does. I mean, the voice acting, the mannerisms. And like you said, the thing specifically I'm going to talk about the latest episode here, episode 3. There was a time in this episode where I was starting to see why Penguin was trusted in Vic so much, or wanted to bring him on and kind of help him, right? He saw himself in Vic. I think you mentioned that in maybe the first video we did, but he sees himself in Vic, like, and he wants to help him. And there's a couple of similarities between their stories, because you find a lot more out about Vic in this episode of his past and what's going on there and why he's the way he is and what happened. And it's so good. And the action's it's a little scarce on this episode until the end, which it kind of picks up a little bit there. But you get a little bit more intricacies of the different crime families, a few of them in this episode as well. It's just, I don't know what else to say. I feel like I'm just rambling on here about how great it is. But if you haven't seen, you need to go watch it right now.
Here's the thing. So when we talked about the first episode, right, and I even said that about Vic, obviously you're speculating at that point.
Yeah.
But, it as it ties into, you're like, oh, yeah, they're going to explore this more, and you get that. And you realize that he saw that from the beginning, right? From the very first, as he's getting ready to shoot Vic because they're trying to steal his rims off his purple Maserati. You're like, okay, like, there had to be something that the Penguin, that Oswald saw in him, in Vic. And, they do a good job of obscuring that in the next couple episodes. Well, even the rest of that episode into episode 2, until in episode 3, you kind of get a little more understanding of why. But Oswald saw that from the beginning. So everything kind of like, okay, things start to make sense. And that's what you want from a really good series, right? You want to start questioning, and you want to really be thinking like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? And like, you want to be on the edge, right? You don't want something that like, yeah, that's why he's doing that, right? You don't want to be just being able to guess it. Like these reactioners just seem to guess all these fucking movies that have been out for 20 or 30 years. You want to be kind of like guessing and wondering what's going on. And it delivers. And the one thing I will say, though, is because, Matt Stein talked about after the first episode, we were talking about the second one. And it was like Mantis had said, it kind of died off from the hype of the first one as far as everything that happened, right? But what, he also did say was that there was a lot more character building in the second one, right? Because you can't live on this high. Right, it's like movies. You can't live on the high. You have to have the ebbs and flows, right? You have to have that. Like you had this amazing episode. Well, now we need a little more. It's going to be slower action, but we're going to get more in depth into these characters, right? And that was episode 2. And then when you get to 3, we're coming back up, and then 4 is probably going to dip a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, the end of 3, it started to pick up quite a bit there. There's a lot of character development in 3 as well. Like I said, specifically between Vic. Like you find out a lot about Vic, because at the beginning of that episode, I thought we were still in like current time. But you find out at the very beginning of that, it's actually at the very end of Batman is what you're watching, which is very cool. And again, Colin Farrell, I don't know what they're going to do with him, but part of me feels like there's going to be a switch here, because again, we are dealing with a villain, right? The Penguin is a villain. And man, ever since the start of this series, the first 3 episodes, like you said, like I feel myself feeling sorry for him, like almost rooting for him. And there's going to be a time, and I don't know if I was the show writers, there's going to be a time where he does something reprehensible, because he's a bad guy, right? He's supposed to be a bad guy. He's not supposed to be a good guy. So if I'm the writers,
is he though?
I mean, What, supposed to
Because
be a
you
bad
have
guy?
but you have Cristin Milioti, right? She's your big baddie, right? So is he going to
Well,
do something reprehensible, or is he going to do something that is still bad, but it is like trumped by what she does, right? So he seems like a good guy in comparison, but they're still doing bad shit, right?
the
Because
only the
I
only
will say this, to be fair, she's doing amazing in this series. She is
oh yeah.
absolutely 100% amazing in this
And
series.
what I'll say about what he's going to do that's going to be
Crazy eyes.
reprehensible. So in the third episode at least, you find out, and he even admits this to her, like he's like, I don't regret what I did to you, like, because he's the one who kind of threw her, like, whatever he did, because they didn't actually explain it, but whatever he did to make her look bad in the eyes of the Falcones, the rest of the family, he even says, like, I didn't expect they would put you in Arkham. Whatever he did, he screwed her over, fucked her over good, right? And he even said, yeah, I don't regret it. It's something that I want. Like, I want to be better. I want something better. And I don't care what I have to do to get there. Right now, he's all friendly with Vic and whatnot. I can see he may be okay with a couple people, but his ultimate goal is to get to the top. And it doesn't matter who he fucks over, has to kill, or what he has to do it.
See, that right there is, it's almost Games of Thrones, right? Like where loyalty's tested. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, Vic is gonna make it, and then all of a sudden he dies season 1, right?
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
Red Wedding style. Like he just.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's sitting there with like Oswald's mom, and then he just gets fucking killed. Right?
Like,
I could see something like that happening.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I could see just whatever happens, he has to make a choice, and I was just like, no, fuck you, and just fucking kills Vic, just like fucking blows him away. Just, I mean,
because honestly, in episode 2, he almost went to do it again, right? Because obviously we saw it in episode 1. In episode 3, like, but we saw it in episode 1 where he was wanting to kill him. Episode 2, he thought about it. Episode 3, like, it keeps coming back to where he's finding reasons to where, like, I don't need you.
Yes.
He
had his hand. Yeah, he had him digging a grave in 2. I mean, in the third episode, he had a gun. I mean, he had his gun on his head. I don't think he was going to kill him. It was more of a trying to scare him into making a decision at the end.
I think he's trying to mold him into himself, right? Because he sees himself in that. So he's like, what would have made me into the person I am, right? Well, that might not work for Vic.
Yeah. I could totally. If I was writing the show, man, I've kind of, led the audience like sheep, and they're doing exactly what they're confiding in Oswald. They feel sorry for him, and then just
boom,
just fucking flip it and just turn him into a villain instantly, and have him just.
Here's the thing, with Cristin Milioti's character of the Falcones, there, like, you get a very Sophia. Falcone. You get a very negative impression of her, but if you think about it, and this is kind of interesting thing when you talk about characters, like, she's the only thing you've ever seen. Now you hear bad shit she's done and being a mass murderer or like where she's killed these other women and stuff. But she's only ever in this series, you've only heard her about loving her brother, right? And she's very upset that her brother died. He's the only one that believed in her and things like that. So, she seems like the ultimate baddie, but actually she's the one that her actual motives are coming from an altruistic place, right? A love, a family member that she absolutely loved, that was her anchor point in reality, that came to see her where she was in Arkham and locked up, died. Right, so she is going off the deep end to find him. Whereas with Oswald, with Colin Farrell's character, you're like, dude, he's just trying to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak. Yeah, and he's trying to get rid of, and he's putting two families against each other and hoping he's going to come out on top, right? So who's really the bad guy, right? Because honestly, thus far, Cristin Milioti, I mean, she's so amazing, but like she's not as a character. If you think about it, like with any of us, right? I don't have Mantis does, but I don't have the family where I don't have anybody who's going to get rid of that. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna like wage this rampage. I'm like, I'm good. But like so for her, like, it's all because of her brother died, right? That's the
that's
reason
what set her
she's
off.
doing this. Yeah, that's what set her off. She's not wrong
Yeah.
for that. And that's what's so interesting. That's what's so great about the series Penguin is everybody who's doing that is actually wrong for, well, I'd honestly say Oswald is probably more wrong because he's just trying to gain a position of power. Whereas
Yeah,
she's not wrong for what she's doing. She's going after her brother's killer. She wants justice.
Well, that, and she wants to. I mean, she does want to overthrow her family. She doesn't think.
Yeah, but her family's the guys in charge of pieces of shit.
Well, that, and it's all coming from her brother's plan, right? Like, she knew her brother's plan. She knew what he was going to do, and she wants to fulfill that. And maybe partly thinks that, like, that's what she can do in his memory, right? Like,
yeah, but to be fair, the other guys, they're like, you need to let this go. They could give a shit less that her brother died. You know?
Well, that, and they think she's fucking batshit.
Yeah.
I mean, she is, kind of, but, like, they think...
She's still high.
They think she... Yeah, they think she can't be trusted, which is true, but they also don't want her meddling. She's kind of a thorn in their sides to a degree. You know, and again, yeah, Oswald is just playing them all. He's playing her. He's playing the family. You know, he's playing the Maronis. He's playing everybody just to get.
He's trying to get the Falcones to destroy themselves from within, and then the Maronis to destroy what's left of the Falcones, so that he can rise to the top, which is great in chess. But
yes.
As far as for a series, but what it does make for a series is superb writing, superb character development. It's good.
I want to be friends with it. It's good.
Yeah, it's a great series. It is definitely a way if you want to do, and you know, we'd said when we did the original video for the Penguin, and we've talked about multiple others. If you're going to try to do a series that really is focused on the bad guys, you know, there's no hero right now in the Penguin, right? It's just who's the least bad, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
This is a great way to do it.
Oh, I agree. I think we've been jerking the move or the show off here for a good 19 minutes, but I will say there are some kind of parts
18 minutes
that were
and 51
slower.
seconds.
Yeah, there's some parts that are kind of slower, you know, and it's not it maybe that's what lifts the other parts up, like the thing with Vic and I forget her name, but his woman that he eventually kind of just dips on. But there are parts where they're talking in his apartment that I'm like, whatever. But I guess you kind of have to set that up as the reason why he kind of. Yeah, I know. It's just, I know you need them. I'm just, if I had to be picky about it and I had to pick something, like it would be that is kind of.
It's easier if it's a movie where you can say, dude, we only have 2 hours. We got to cut that shit, right? But you have a series, that's fine because, it's character development. It's little pieces. And also, it may not even matter right then. 2 episodes later, that may come in huge. I'm not saying
it had to be in there. So the beginning of the 3rd episode and that part where he's talking with her inside of Oswald's apartment that were kind of long and I just didn't care for, they had to be there because that was the reason why Vic was going to leave. It had to be there for that to be the case for him to leave Oswald, which he eventually didn't, but to kind of tempt him. That, like, again, those valleys, even in this episode, you have to have those valleys to set up those, you know, situations and choices that he had to make. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? I get it. It's just, I'm trying to be picky here because again, the show's great. So, you know, if there's something I had to pick on, it would be that, even though it's required specifically for the storyline that happened.
Because here's the thing, guys. If all episodes are legendary, then no episodes are legendary.
Every night can't be legendary. If all nights are legendary, no nights are legendary.
Exactly.
Right? Like, if every single episode came out and was like, oh, that's legendary, well, then there's no basis, right? There's no legendary. You need your ebbs and flows.
Speaking of legendary, we're going to switch just to the very end here because I wanted to give an update to our fine followers, subscribers, and viewers of this video.
Oh, shit.
Because of what happened in the like category on the Thunder, was it the Flashy thing video? I have been watching the Peacemaker, or not the Peacemaker, just Peacemaker, the series on HBO Max, because I hadn't seen it, and we said if you get the required amount of likes that I would start watching that, and I have. I've made it through 4 episodes, and I gotta say, it is pretty damn good as well. It's definitely not the same show as The Penguin. It's more lighthearted. I guess it's more violent. As if that could be a thing.
Has a better soundtrack.
It definitely has a better. I was telling Cal this yesterday, or was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Today, I don't remember. Yeah, like I there's very few times where, when you're watching a show and maybe you're on episode 2 or 3, and when it starts, that little box that pops up in the bottom that says skip intro, and you can hit that to just skip the intro. Most shows I do that. I don't on Peacemaker. And I don't. It's a mix of the soundtrack. The music is good. There's some cool riffs in there, and then they're doing the choreography, dance stuff with like straight face, even though it's goofy as fuck, is hilarious. Which is kind of what happens in the show. The commentary and the people are saying the funniest shit. Like the dialogue is funny as hell, but they're not laughing. Like actually laughing at what they're saying, and it's fucking great. So there's parts of it that were great. That some of the fight scenes and stuff were cool. The vigilante guy. What's his name? Is that his name? Vigilante? Or no, it's not vigilante. What is it?
His real name?
His superhero name.
Vigilante.
Is it? Okay, yeah. So he's a funny little part where he just, in this last episode 4, he demask him because he gets tortured, which is pretty funny as well. He's like, I'm not going to tell you a damn thing. You could torture him all night. He's like, well, man, hold on, wait a minute, man. Like, maybe I'll just say a little bit of something. And he's like, no, he's not going to say anything. It's just,
so what have you made it out to, though? And so you said the last episode you watched, so he went into jail with Peacemaker's dad, right?
Yeah, that episode he did, like halfway through, I think.
So you know his real name, right?
The dragon?
No.
Dragon guy?
No, Vigilante.
Yeah. He's. Oh, I don't remember his name because it's just. It's like, aren't you so and so? And then actually, I forget later in the episode, he's like, aren't you so and so's? Wasn't that guy our busboy at the Olive Garden or something? I forget what it was.
His name is Adrian Chase. Now, if you're familiar with the Arrowverse, Adrian Chase shows up as the baddie in the Arrowverse, where he puts Oliver through the ringer. Like he is like the,
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, dude. So he is like basically Oliver's second hand when Oliver becomes mayor. And like he was, so what's weird is he played, he didn't play Vigilante. So there's a Vigilante in the Arrowverse that's played by a different person that they don't play as Adrian Chase. But who the character that he plays as is Adrian Chase. It's not Vigilante in the Arrowverse, but there is an Adrian Chase that pops up. The Arrowverse kind of took some liberties and all that stuff. But that is who plays the guy who goes after, and then basically through even it's the end of season 6 on the Arrow, but he is going after Oliver Queen. So it's amazing. It's awesome that they tie into each other. But in Peacemaker, that's who he is. He's Adrian Chase.
Gotcha. Yeah. So where on that then I guess is where you find out, and this is big spoiler alert, because you get to see the butterfly. They capture one in a jar, and he's got him at his little shit or his double wide there. But you find out. Oh, is it? It's a single one? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not up to verse with the hillbilly and trailer park trash terms and what is which, but you do find out that the lead guy of their little group, I forget his name, the one that doesn't make expressions because he says he doesn't.
Mern.
Yes. Mern. Yes. Mern. You find out he is a butterfly as well.
What was that? He's a.
Well, no, because at the end of the episode, he's like, "Okay, I'll give you a call back," and because he's watching TV, all of a sudden, shit, oh, Mike. But yeah, his mouth thingy, the little mouth came out and started,
I like to eat you with my little mouth, too.
Oh, now y'all get back up inside me, little mouth.
I wants to play, too.
Get back inside. I'll get you when we's eating them.
Get back in there, little mouth. I get you when we're eating them.
yeah. That's what it reminded me of.
100%.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's again, I was apprehensive of watching because when I first watched the first couple, so I just wasn't into it. But no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So let me say this, guys. This is final thoughts. We're gonna wrap it up after this, but I want to say this. Okay, so again, I said previously, I've known Mantis over 20 years. We're best friends. I could not get him to watch this series, right? You guys made that happen, and I am forever grateful. I love our fan base. I love that you guys liked the video flashy thing enough to get him to watch this. We wanted to put this at the end because we just didn't want to lose people in the very beginning. We hope you're staying till the end if you like that video to know that, and I'll put some references here and there as well too, in case you don't want to be here 20 something minutes after the video to find out that he is watching Peacemaker, right? Finally, because I'm quizzing him on the information. That's why we're having these discussions right now to make sure he's watching it, because he watched it for you guys, because it matters, because sometimes there are things like I say or he'll recommend something. I'm like, okay, sure, maybe I'll get around to it. But there was enough people that liked and also commented that said, yes, go watch Peacemaker. He did it. He did it for you guys. So with that in mind, if you have made it with us this far, consider giving the video a like. He's going to show you where.
Right here.
Or at least the icons that will kind of display.
Yeah.
Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on all this. So you can also comment and let us know. Because, guys, a lot of people say, go to our Patreon and you can see full-length reactions and discussions and you can vote on these things. We don't have fucking Patreon. We don't care about fucking Patreon. We're here with you on YouTube. So let us know. You can just suggest in the comments, because what we do say is, like when we said, hey, if this video gets... we put a very, very low number of likes on it, right? He will go watch Peacemaker. And he is, okay? Because we are here for you guys. You guys are the reason we do this. We don't make money off the channel. We work full-time jobs, but you guys are the reason we do this, because we do enjoy it, and we do enjoy bringing you out this content, okay? Look at that face. That face is the face of enjoyment. Okay, that looks like you're enjoying getting out of shit before work. That's a weird face.
I tried to make... Because we were talking about the scene in Step Brothers where they were interviewing and he farts, so I was trying to make this face that John C. Reilly made when he was,
Congratulations, you succeeded admirably, because that's what it kind of looked like. I was like, dude, is he having a weird fart? Like, what's going on? Like, did he shit himself and we got a cut? So that works, right? That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, guys, see, you don't want to miss this, right? This is the insanity I'm talking about that we hope you all love. If not, let us know down in the comments. You guys are 11. We need you at like a 4. We could do that. Yeah. Well, maybe
we can dial it down a little, maybe a little bit.
We'll do our best. We make no promises on that. But guys, regardless, we do appreciate everybody who tunes into these videos, who likes, who comments, and those who subscribe, both people who've been here since the beginning and new ones. We do love you all in a very platonic friendship kind of way. And
yes.
Mantis, anything else you want to add to
that? No, don't sniff glue.
All right, good PSA, everybody. Don't do that. So that's going to wrap it for us here on this episode of UMediaC, because fuck, I just realized how long this episode's running. Until next time, we will see you then.
Later.